Hey, okay, all right, hello, hi. Um, I'm recovering in a lot of ways from, I don't know, but I've got some momentum going in my writing. Kind of took a pause from the like big work of uh, the novel, essay, book length narrative thing that I'm writing. Mostly been researching for um, 9 months, and I've been working on an essay, of which I've got all of this stuff, um, and that's going to be done. But I've had these. I'm making this video because I've had these two short pieces that are that contain some really good writing. I don't think they're necessarily short stories. I don't think they're narrative based necessarily, um, but they're very interesting to me, and I haven't found a way to piece them together, um, to make them work in the way that I want them to. And so I've had them in a pretty final state, a final seeming state for almost a year. I sent them out to places and didn't get accepted. I mean, I sent them out to like really high level places, but and I just think I need help. I need other eyes to help me make them a little less confusing and a little bit more like mystifying in a very satisfying way. I think the only way to do it is just open up and have anyone who wants to look at them and comment on them do that and let me know. One is called Submissions, and you can see by the epigraph that the here I wrote what I hope it is. It's not a narrative, it's not a short story. But Submissions is a supplication to the dark god at the gates of our greatest dream. It is an occult ritual, a jester's dance aimed at pleasuring the reader of the slush pile. How can I make it more like that? Um, Hopefully that's not too abstract, but like it contains probably too many different threads. There's this like um old like pulp horror writer who has this like, you know, strained and difficult and kind of like dark relationship with this woman. Um and then there's also these like 4 or 5 different pieces of boyhood 1, 2, 3, 4, these very small vignettes, from an unnamed boy. And then there is uh, that same boy grown and like having these kind of mystical experiences with, um, you know, gods and goddesses. There's a lot going on, and that's part of the point, right? If you're doing this like supplicative and show offy, like look at it all kind of dance to the slush pile reader, you want it to be too much, but I also know that when I look at it, I'm like, these are really cool. Some excellent sentences and moments here, but to the mind that isn't mine, when I was writing these, like I don't even connect to them in the same way that I did a year or two ago. it's just very hard to follow. And I think that someone, and many of you who would look at it, could say, okay, here are the parts that don't really make sense. I think the way I was trying to fit it together was like having pieces of one little snippet or vignette or whatever repeat and be like refracted and transformed in other vignettes. But I don't think that's enough to keep it together. And the other one is called Headmaster at Rest, and it's very inspired by Robert Kennedy Saved from Drowning, by, what the hell is his name? Barthelme. Yeah, just like little vignettes of a person. That one I feel like has more to it. Um, and then I think there's another one. I don't know if I'll show you this one, but there's another one that's like all an I narrator. Let's see if I can find it. You know, they've all been sent, uh, they've been emailed and whatever to many people. Um, this other one is like, I don't know. Maybe it's maybe it's worth showing you. It's called My Parents' Basement, and it's like this aged 30 something, uh these snippets from living in his parents' basement as a kind of like ineffectual um person who's also like caring for his aging parents. I don't know if that one really has anything for me, or if it's too like um I don't know if that's kind of writing that I want out under my name. But anyway, I'm just going to put these out either in a Gmail or a Google Doc or some way for you to see them. And just if you have any capacity and feel like commenting and helping me get them to an organized point, and that can mean deleting, changing, rearranging, even like, you know, in the example of submissions, which is the one I feel like most strongly has the potential to really mystify and like stun readers. It's getting it out of a state of confusion and into a state where there's a logic that maybe only you and I know about and the reader doesn't, but can feel is there. And I feel like there is strongly, but it still rests in a confusing state more than just a state that's just past being available and that you like want to find that for. So the always any short piece that I do, short in this vein is always envisioned living in Noon. Noon is the best publisher of short fiction and mystifying fiction literature, I should say. It's not even fiction necessarily. And I don't have my copy of Noon here with me, but that's always where I envision these stories, and where I'd love to send them again for the chance to be read there. And yeah, let's do it. I'm just gonna send them out. The goal is to find. I'm in the dark here, and you're gonna bring me and these stories into light. But the goal is to find a cohesion and a thread to make these very, very, very short pieces pull all the way through to the end, not in some like narrative, classical, traditional sense, but to make them not confusing and more like satisfying in this mystifying way. And I think Submissions is the one I feel most strongly has the potential to be something really excellent. and there's just probably too much going on. So even if it's like, okay, let's eliminate this like old horror writer, but let's make it all this boy in boyhood, but at different stages of the boy's life. You know, maybe it's that, or maybe it's, let's get rid of the little vignette that's called plot, that's really showy offy and doesn't really do much, or let's alter the details to make that fit into this boyhood narrative. Yeah, that's what I want to try to do with your help. And then you can also read some stuff that I like care a lot about and think that has excellent parts on, but I'm not like actively invested in right now. Other than like just wanting to get them to a state that I can like try to send them out again, to these places that I really like and respect and admire. And yeah, anyway, it's just an experiment. I had the impulse to just put some work out there and have people just openly comment on it. And I'm not really, yeah, if you're like, this sucks or this has nothing to it, it's really not going to affect me in any way, because I think this kind of very, very, very short stuff is its own world. And a lot of people aren't going to mess with it, as it were. But anyway, I'm working on this essay. I've got to focus in and complete that today. And then I'm just going to put these pieces in a place. How am I going to do it? I think I have an idea of how I'll do it. I'll print them off, eliminate the identifying information in them, and then we'll just, maybe I'll like scan the printed copies in, and then you can like comment on them. I'm not really sure. I want you to see them in the format that I envision them being sent out in, which isn't a format that's so easily commentable on. Anyway, if you have the bandwidth, if you feel interested in this, I'm going to let you edit my work. And I will get a lot out of it. So it's like, I'm not giving you anything. You're giving me everything with this. So anyway, that's it. I'm just going to post this video without any editing, and we'll see what happens.